try again. Hopefully, third time lucky. Good, great, great, great. Are you still in Dubai? Right, right, it's connecting. Fingers crossed. Yes, I am. I'm still in Dubai. Um, shouldn't be too long, guys. Oh my God, I hope he can get in. Let's see. Okay, should be connecting. It's connecting. It always does this. It always takes a few minutes. Oh my God, he's not in. Okay, if not, I'm going to log back out and come back in. Oh, he's
Right.
here!
Yeah, there we
Mark!
go. There we go.
Yay! Oh my God! I told you, it takes a while, doesn't it? It
No,
takes a
I didn't
while.
understand. I had to switch it to I switched it to the mobile internet. I don't understand what's wrong with it. It kept like
Yeah,
disconnected. I don't
yeah,
know. It even
yeah.
disconnected my headphones. Nothing made sense.
It
I didn't
always
get
does.
it.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, and it's always like this. And that's why I always try to come in earlier. So we've got a few people joining us. So I'll just introduce this because okay. So my name's Jasmine, and I'm a coactive life coach. And this is the first episode. Dun dun dun.
I'm so honored.
um, are you a leader or are you a follower? And this question just blows.
I've done the I got a job, but it's not really the job I wanted or the job I planned to. It's just kind of like, maybe the job I fell into or I just got this and one thing led to another and something like that. Or it's, or they do the same thing when it comes to like their personal lives or personal relationships. And, at some point you got to be like, well, no, you have to constantly be introspective about yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you
you
have to
do.
constantly think to yourself and think, is this something I want to do? Is this something I like? Is this something that is this aligning with goals that I have for myself? Is this where I want it to be? Or what does this mean for myself? And so on, I think that's kind of the crucial talk about being a leader or a follower, because I don't think it's necessarily wrong to be a follower you know oh yeah, absolutely, right there, take off the mask,
Oh,
that's exactly
yeah.
it.
Oh my
That's
God.
exactly
And
it.
that's part of it as well. That's so part of it as well, isn't it? Because it's a fear as well. Maybe you're scared to do your own thing and go your own way and not
well
follow
I,
everybody else.
well, it's like that, that picture you have of like all the sheep. It's kind of that sheepish mentality. Everyone thinks something is a good idea, so everyone does it instead of you thinking, well, I mean, is it really that great of an idea? Like, I'll tell you an
Yeah.
example that always drove me crazy because I'm not much of a fashion guy, but I had a friend of mine who was working in a retail store over in Dubai, somewhere in one of these like high end retail places. And we walked in and there was like this ridiculous looking fluffy shirt or whatever. And I was telling him, I was like, how much is that for? Like that looks so stupid. He's like, it's like 30,000 dirhams, like almost equivalent to like eight $9,000. And I'm
Wow.
like, why would anyone wear that? And he's like, well, Drake wore it in one of his music videos, something similar. I'm like, I don't care who wore it. It doesn't matter Drake or not Drake. It's a stupid looking shirt. I don't understand. And that's like what I mean. Like sometimes like people kind
Exactly.
of they think to themselves like, oh, I think this is a good idea for me. So they go through with it. And then it's like, well, no, what do you feel? Like, is it something that you think is good for
Yeah.
you or not? And other
Yeah.
people will accept you for that. I think that's really
Yeah.
important to do because as a leader, like okay, a true leader is someone who understands the people that they're with, right? Like the people in their groups, and maybe they're the ones who make the final decisions or they're decisive, but it's not because they have to make the decision, right? It's because they see something and think to themselves, do I like this idea? Okay, I'm choosing to do it for myself, you know? So it like in a way, even being a follower can like even following someone can still be you being a leader within yourself. Because if you're being like a sheep and just saying, I'm gonna just go this way,
Yeah.
that's wrong.
No,
Because you
you're
can't
not
just
even
keep
thinking.
yeah, you can't just follow someone blindly. But if even if you're following someone, you can still be a leader because in yourself you're saying, I agree with what this person says and I think it's the right way to go. Just so happens that this person had the idea or whatever the motivate whatever it
Possibly.
is, the
So if you're
initiative.
aware, then it's awareness. Then do you think awareness is key? If you know what you're following, then it's your decision. So if it's your decision, then you're not really a follower, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's exactly like what we're just seeing right there. You have to understand yourselves and listen like within your because
Yeah.
if you have someone who's coming in and saying, oh, this is this, and then you're saying, okay, 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 and you're not thinking to yourself, oh, I'm listening. You're just listening because that's your manager or that's your leader. So that's all you're gonna do. You're just making that decision because someone else made
Yes.
the
No.
decision. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're just coming up to a thing. But then, the only way you rise up in the world is if you actually follow, if you actually like have someone giving you a decision or someone saying something, and then you think to yourself like, do I agree? Do I not agree? What's the pitfalls here? Disadvantage, advantage? Okay, maybe I'll mention how this gets better. Maybe this is, something that we
Oh,
can do
that's
to get,
nice. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I like to bring passion, energy to anything I do. But I mean, it's something that I
Great.
think is like
Yeah.
it's really important, because you have to if you're not standing up and thinking, wait,
That's true, Mahini. Sorry.
what?
Yeah.
Sorry?
No, I'm just saying that's true, Mahini. She said it's being intentional about the people you surround yourself with. That's another
A-
part as
Absolutely.
well.
I mean, I
Sorry.
make it. I No, I do make it an absolute point for me that like when I have certain people in my life or certain friends and stuff, if I start to get annoyed or something, I kind of look back and say, like, do I really have to give this person the time of day or the effort, or is this person leading themselves down a wrong path or like bringing me along into something I don't really want to be with? Then I can just
Mm.
remove myself from that thing. We feel like we have to, fit in with our friends or fit in with certain people because we think, that's the right way to be.
Oh,
But that's not really the right way to be. Like what you should do is you should think, is this something I agree with? You know what I mean? Or is this person someone I agree with having in my life because they help me see things clearly, or they provide some sort of value, Although that kind
yeah,
of gets away from the conversation a little bit.
no, but it's all connected, isn't it? Everything's connected with it. This conversation can go
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
but I think you do need courage as well, don't you? I think you need a lot of
Absolutely.
courage to ask yourself those questions. Well, not okay, ask yourself those questions, but courage to actually listen to your answers, maybe. Do you need courage? Do you
Yeah.
think it's courage you need? Yeah.
I think it's courage, and I think it's also like telling yourself like I should listen. You know what I mean? Like because a lot of times, like when we react, like a lot of times we react to certain things emotionally, and it's hard, and sometimes we don't realize that emotions and certain reactions are our body subconsciously telling us something. You know what I mean? Like when someone
Yeah.
says something and then you become angry, or someone, or you react like, oh, I'm not happy with this, or you feel even depressed with how your life's going, whatever. That's your body telling you you're not listening. You're not, you
Something
know what I mean?
is not.
Yeah, because you're following through on something that you're not happy with because you're not doing, because you're thinking to yourself, this is the right decision, where your body's literally yelling at you, this is not the right decision. This is something you need to change. So that's something that you need to be acutely aware of. Your body is really telling you what things are. And it does take courage to kind of look back at yourself and think, is this something I want to do? Because a lot of times I think people get scared to just admit that they don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I'm with certain friends or certain people, and I think, hey, you want to come on with this? Oh yeah, and I'm just like, I can see the hesitation. I don't think you like
Yeah,
it.
but
It's okay
you
if
can
you
feel it.
don't.
You can feel the energy. It doesn't matter if their
And I'm
energy.
looking at them and I'm like, just say you don't want to come along, or say that you don't approve of this, or it's not really your thing. I mean, it's not that big a deal to me, and it's not a big deal to you. It's your opinion, it's your choice, it's your
Course,
decision, and we'll respect that. And if
you're
and ultimately,
absolutely.
and I think it's also like on top of the courage, a little issue that we have kind of in society in certain places. I'm not saying with everybody, but in a lot of ways, a lot of people won't respect other people's decisions. Sometimes we look at someone's decision and tell them like, oh, that's just like, come on, that's a dumb decision. It's like, well, no, I mean, does he have a reason? If it's a good reason, then let him have it. So I think sometimes like we kind of weed out that courage because we don't let them even have their opinion or let
That's
them be
good.
free with what their
Judge,
opinions
yeah,
is.
judgmental. Maybe do you
Yeah,
think
it's
people who judge, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are judging, or people are kind of like thinking to themselves like, oh, so like that's weird that you feel this way. It's like, I mean, it's not that weird. Someone can decide to be religious, or someone can choose to be, have a certain political opinion. It's fine. It's your choice. It's about, kind of allowing that person to be there. And also, I think it's good because you get to hear different perspectives. Even if it's something I don't agree with, you might say something or you might have an opinion where I'm like, you know what, I may not be someone who does this, but I can understand why someone would do this. So maybe I would find something that gives me that similar kind of gratification or feeling or something like that. That's where I would kind of go with that. But I don't know. I
Exactly.
mean, how do you,
No, I guess it's about being open-minded as well, isn't it? And I think once you've accepted yourself and you don't judge yourself, then you're like that with other people as well. If you can
yeah,
accept yourself, you're more likely to accept others. Um,
yeah, absolutely. And your confidence within that self is what gives you that.
yeah, and you don't need everybody to agree with you or have the same opinion as you. You're okay being different, you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Whereas some people maybe think if I'm different, then there's something wrong with me, or people will think there's something wrong with me.
Well, because they because
Uh,
they want to feel they feel like they're like that picture you had with the sheep and the pink sheep. You know what I mean? You can see a lot
yeah,
of times where people choose to, let's say they dress something that's wild, but to them it's different, whatever. So they come in and then they think to themselves like, oh, I feel like I'm the weird one in the group. And it's like, no, you're not the weird one in the group. Like it's cool, man. Like you stick out. And
cool.
and
Yeah,
and and
interesting.
and all it does is show me, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is the kind of person that's kind of like into this. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of, I'm cool with what you feel because at least now I know that I have an opinion from it.
And I
And also just because I think it helps make people feel that you're honest. Like, one thing that I know,
totally,
like,
yes.
yeah, because I know, for example, with me in a lot of relationships and a lot of like people that I meet, is that sometimes I can rub people the wrong way, but that's mainly because I just kind of say things how I feel. And
You do.
what I know that works from that is that people, even if you don't like me or you like me, and even if you agree or you don't agree with me, what they do know crucially by the end of like their, after meeting me is like, well, whatever it is, I know what his opinion is, or I know how he feels. So whether I agree or disagree, he's honest. And I
He's
think
real.
it's easy.
He's real.
Exactly. And I think that's crucial because even if I don't like you, at least I know what I don't like about you. I don't have to be your friend. I can meet you and think that you're, a different person from my views, but that doesn't mean I hate. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
don't have to hate you. I'm just gonna be
yeah,
like,
of
it's
course,
all
of
good.
course. And
Because,
it's real. It's about being real as well, isn't it? If somebody's not being genuine, you can feel it. And what's the point?
yeah,
Like you said, it's just a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. And if you can be real with who you are, hopefully you allow others to have the courage to be themselves around you. If you're being yourself, you give them the courage, don't you? So it's a win-win. And when
absolutely.
you're yourself, you feel free. You feel free, don't you? You know.
It's incredibly liberating. And the thing is like
Yeah.
I genuinely believe like it leads to better and better decisions for your life because when you start
Wow.
saying, I'm doing this for me, then after that, every single time something else comes up, you start thinking, well, how do I feel about that? No, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And then you start to go, boom, okay, I want this. Boom, I go, you want this. I was just reading that question, ever
Yeah.
changing
Look at
minds.
the question. Yeah. Adam. Yeah. Do you wanna? What's it?
Oh,
Do
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I think if we ever if you're being 100% honest with yourself, you cannot be someone who does not change your mind. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you can meet certain people and you can think, okay, no, like, Donald Trump, I'm never gonna like that guy. But that's just a joke, an American joke. But in general, what I mean is that like um, if you meet someone, sure, you can have a great, you can think to yourself, I've met a few people in like when you and me first met, we weren't really that close when we first met. We kind of were
No,
just
no.
like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
yeah,
because you
yeah.
were in your way and I was in my way. I was, I'm a swearing, laughing, joking kind of person. You were kind of in your own. But then after that, we started to grow together because we found a mutual understanding, and we started to grow into each other. And for me, like, I
Exactly.
get that.
Yeah, and that was very real, actually. It was real. We didn't pretend to be like talking to each other, did we? We were just, you were yourself, I was myself. We didn't care. And that's probably,
Absolutely.
in the end, that's what we liked about each other, maybe, because we were both real.
No, I think it is. Well, because I mean, and the thing is, like, that genuinely always happens. Like, a lot of times I'll not like someone, or people will not like me, and then after 2 years they're like, "Yo, Mac's a cool guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, it's been like that for a while. It's just you haven't realized it." But it's not like you haven't realized it.
Yeah.
It's just you have to grow into it because you start to understand the person more and more, and then because I think it's really hard to meet someone, or to get or even if we're talking about leaders and followers, like to have a concept or to have an idea or an ideal come to you, and then you just accept it face value. Because if that's what happened, then that means you're just a follower. You're just a sheep, because you just said, oh, that's a great idea, I'll go with that, it's cool. Wait, if I don't have to convince you, I don't really want you in my I don't really want you there. I want you to be able to
Oh,
ask me.
right. Okay. I see what you
You know,
mean. Yeah,
because,
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Because
Individual.
unless you're someone who understands me, I want you to be someone who understands it. Like, understand why I say what I say. Because sure, maybe I'll say something that might sound offensive in a certain context, but after a while, you may realize, like, no, well, because that's the way he jokes because that's his personal history. That's the way he is because of this, and then you start to understand that as time comes along, and that really
Exactly.
grows from that. I think it's really, really important to do that. But anyway, that's how I feel on that one.
Yeah, yeah, and it's good. I think you're real from the beginning, and I'm the same. Like I find I can't be fake at the beginning. I can't be somebody I'm not, It's I find that hard. And sometimes that gives me problems, when I meet people because I can't just say anything. I just have to
Yeah.
be myself, you know?
But the thing is, like, you just kind of have to take charge. I think that's where that needs, because if you take charge and you think to yourself, like, all right, no, I'm going to just say how I feel, and let bygones be by, like, then I think you kind of grow out of it. Because even though you might have a few people who say, oh, I don't know, I don't like, and then they kind of turned off, it doesn't matter, because all you understand for them is they're quick to judge. And if you're someone who's quick to judge, how much do I really care about your opinion, or at least trying to get your acceptance? You know what I mean? Because that's the way I always see it. Because if someone meets me the first like 10 minutes and thinks, nah, he's really obnoxious, I'm like, yeah, then if you can judge that someone as being obnoxious in 2 minutes, then
Straight
good
away.
luck with you.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're
You're
never gonna
right.
you're never gonna
Yeah.
figure it out in life, because I mean a lot of people are gonna seem obnoxious after 2 seconds. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anybody in the wrong context you're gonna see in the wrong way.
Exactly, exactly. Sorry, I missed Adam's question. Adam wrote a question. I missed it. Did you see it?
Yeah, yeah, it
Something
was
about
saying something. It was talking about companies employing authentic leaders, or like puppet leaders. Um, and do you have anything you want to say for that?
No, I didn't know. I don't actually. Sorry, Mike. I don't really
No, it's
understand
okay.
it.
It's fine. I mean, I have a couple opinions for this, just in my own experience with like some of
Yeah.
the corporate leaders that I've met and stuff. I think a lot of times we find a lot of puppet leaders, at least in this region, the people who
Oh,
I've
puppet.
worked
Okay.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of, kind of sheep leaders, people who are, or you either have it kind of in a way that it's very authoritarian, like it's kind of all pushed into the top of this pyramid, and almost no decision can be made without having that person like kind of accept everything that goes down along. So everyone just kind of be like, well, that's what he said, that's what he said, that, and then it's almost no initiative. And I think that's a major issue for a lot of companies, because honestly, in my work, and a lot of the people that I speak to, because I know the other people who've grown companies out of this place, and a lot of times they think to themselves like, oh, what's wrong with this company? Because I do these kind of consultations, and a lot of times I'm like, it's just your guys are not taking initiative. You know what I mean? Your guys are just like they have a certain decision and they do it, but they don't even understand why they've done the decision. They don't understand like what's the
No.
ramifications, what's the implication
Yeah.
for it. They think to
Robots.
themselves, well, we have to save this, or sometimes they're just focused on like the wrong thing. Most of the time, it's money. Everyone just kind of centered on making sure that they're above the red line and being like, yeah, okay, we need to make sure we make the profit, so we're gonna have to save costs and understand that. Okay, fine, save costs, but what does that mean for
Mm.
you? The save, like, because sure, you save costs, that helps you in this quarter, but how does that help you in 3 quarters from now, or 2 years from now? how does putting that kind of investment, growing and nurturing the right people. Maybe you start to nurture some of the young talent in your company. The guy looks like he's really good. He starts to demand a higher salary, and maybe you weren't ready for it. But the thing is, you have to think, okay, I want to grow a better culture from this, and that culture is going to be essential to me being where I want to be in the future. Because if I want this to grow, I need to grow with this. I'll tell you something that just to kind of give you a context of a lesson I learned from my father. My
Okay.
father is
Yeah.
my father is a surgeon, and he's quite a well-known surgeon. He's quite successful. But one of the first things he did as soon as he started going to surgery was he started teaching, and he became a very like popular teacher, one teacher of the year, and he had all these students that really loved it. And very commonly, a lot of the times, what they would do for these students that were in residency was they would watch the surgeons do the surgery, and they would answer their questions. My dad would just throw them into the deep end, not like in a non-ethical way. They would do the surgery, but he would stand next to them, helping them
Wow.
every step of the way.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and one of the things that he explained to me was, he's like, the whole point of why I studied and became who I was is so that when I have a student, he can start from where I was at his age, and then he can be better than me when he's at my age, because that's the only way we improve. That's the only way we advance. It's the only way we
Wow.
get better,
Yes, yes,
which is
yes.
absolutely true. Because I want you to grow. If I want you to always be beneath me, how am I going to win? That doesn't serve any purpose.
Ex-
That's when you're just being selfish.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Your dad sounds very selfless. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
to do that.
exactly. Well, yeah, I
Some
mean,
people are
exactly.
scared
And
to do that. They don't want people to be better than them, do they? So,
well, a lot of times I think it's actually like ego driven. You know what I mean? Like you think to yourself,
yeah.
I'm the manager, I'm the guy who owns this, I'm gonna do it. Oh, there's no shame in admitting someone has a better idea than you, or someone could be better at something to
Mm,
you.
mm,
But
mm.
they may
Yeah.
defer to your leadership, or they may defer to your seniority or experience or whatever it is. You have your own value. Just because I'm the, hotshot young guy, or I'm someone who's more proficient in a certain area, doesn't mean that suddenly now you've been, upended and it's a coup. It just means that I have a value, recognize that value, and bring me in, cultivate
Mm.
me into your culture, so that way we can become successful together. I mean, if we're all going to be
Together.
selfish and pointing guns and trying to beat each other, that's what leads to a market where everyone is just the same, and then everyone becomes sheep because everyone's like, no, you go do this, no, you go do this. Okay, grow together. I mean, Google grows people. You know what I mean? Like people go there and they grow inside these kind of companies. Facebook didn't
Mm.
just stop with Facebook. I'm just giving a general example, but I'm
Yeah,
saying like
yeah, yeah,
Facebook went and
yeah.
saw Instagram blow up, and they were just like, okay, let's buy Instagram. They saw WhatsApp blow up. They're like, yeah, let's buy WhatsApp, because they saw things that like, okay, this is where we're going. And sure, they use money to get ahead, but also they recognize we're not the only ones here. But if we buy the other things, then we can still be where we want to be in the market. We can still hold that market share or that market lead.
Mm.
I think it's extremely
You're
important.
absolutely right.
And yeah, as Adam was saying there, I mean, cultivation is extreme. I think culture is extremely important when we're talking about companies, or even like leaderships and followers. Like we were just talking now about society inside the, like how society doesn't allow people to kind of grow or become better, because we don't allow other people to have opinions, or we make them feel embarrassed to show their opinions. I think that's it's true about it's important with culture, because culture in terms of society, or culture in a company, or culture in family, it's very important. I read a lot of different books, and there's a few speakers who I listen to who talk about how important it is to grow culture, because when you grow the right culture, where people are unafraid to speak up, or people are unafraid to give opinions, or people are unafraid to show what they want to do or become who they are, that's when you
Mm.
can grow things. Because sure, you'll have some stupid stuff. It happens. You'll have things that you say, that didn't really work. That wasn't effective. This guy wasn't really for us. But what you do have is you grow that unique power that each individual can bring. Because we're all capable of incredible things if we get like the right.
You're,
Sorry.
you definitely sound like a leader and an individual. Like, oh, a book. Is there a book you can recommend? Adam's asking on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna forget some of the names.
Tell me.
I'll send it to you
Yeah,
afterwards. I'll send it to you afterwards, and I'll get that
or
to you
send it to.
for sure.
So, what was the biggest influence in making you who you are today then? Like, was it your father, or where you grew up,
Mm,
or
you
you, or
know,
your own experiences?
it's funny. I would have to say there is no one person. It would be many
No.
different things. But I think it's more that I've been kind of unafraid to listen to leaders and to people. I've always been, since I was young, like I've always speak to people and always try to listen to opinions. And what happened from this is that people would share experiences and stories and lessons with me. And, you'd start to kind of see a pattern as things go along. You're like, every single time I hear someone tell me a story, like out of anger, this always leads to this, or out of this, something leads into that. So
Wow,
I start
really?
to, you know what I mean? Yeah. So because you start to connect dots, the more and more you talk. I mean, you'd be shocked if you start talking to a lot of people. You'd be surprised how many times you start listening and think, oh my God, like these are all well connected. It's just about the perspective that you have it in. Like for example, I will say to Adam, one guy who I love who was on a TED Talk is Michael Lombardi, who is a guy who was who worked in an American football team, and he does a lot of readings on these different things about culture and stuff, and he has a TED Talk about it, and it's interesting because he applied from a business perspective something to an American football team, and that led them to be extremely successful, because he understood how important culture was, or he understood how certain experiences could be kind of modified or like changed to fit our perspective or fit the narrative that we're looking for. So I think that that's something that's really important. So different experiences, different people, speaking to them. I think everyone has a certain value. It's just about talking to them. It's about listening to them. It's about trying to see like, oh, how does this affect me? Oh yeah, you see, every time someone talks in this way, this is what that does. Every time someone talks about this, like these kind of connect. So that's where I think a lot of that lesson comes. What about you? What would you say is your maybe influence for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. My influence. I think just living in different countries, really,
Oh,
and just like being outside and looking in on different societies and things like that, and seeing how they work together, and me kind of being on the outside. So then I was kind of individual anyway, and being different. I was always like different from them anyway. So
hmm.
I don't know if that's why. But then
No,
actually, when
I
I
would
think,
agree.
yeah, I don't know.
No, I would
Or
think.
do you think so? Yeah. And also, I don't know, but sometimes I think I've never really followed the crowd anyway,
Hmm.
you know?
Well, yeah, because you're sure of yourself.
Well, I don't, well, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I question myself, but yeah, I think, yeah, maybe the traveling. I've never followed the crowd. Never.
No, I
Um,
mean there was a great quote I read sometime. I don't even remember who said it, but it was when I was younger. But it was like when everyone looks left, it's time to turn right. And I don't remember who said this. I don't even remember where I read it. It might have even been from a movie or something like that. But that quote always kind of stuck in the back of my mind because the lesson that I learned from that is not, like I said, it's not that it's wrong to follow somebody, but it's more
yeah,
about think about it before you do it. Just because
yeah,
everyone starts going that way doesn't
fine.
mean it's the right decision. It just means if everyone's going that way, okay, is it something that you like also? Then go along. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's a really good idea. Some ideologies, as you can see with things like religion or certain kind of ideologies that come through the years, a lot of people started going en masse and thinking in millions like I like this. And then other people just kind of were sheeps and just joined along because they joined along. But I think
You're right.
it,
I think as well, maybe it's about if you're not afraid to be alone. Like I
yeah.
think, like I said before, if you're comfortable in your own skin or you're not afraid of being alone, then you don't really have anything to lose, do you?
No,
Because if you're
absolutely. I mean,
on your own, you don't. Some people just say go along with other people because they don't want to be by themselves. So if you don't care about that, then yeah,
well,
what's
it's
there to
also
lose?
like, they don't have the confidence to be on their own. And also just because they think that just because the first person says no, or the first group rejects them, or the first seven groups reject them,
Yes,
that
yeah.
now rejection is going to continue happening. It's like, no, it just means be patient. Eventually, you'll find people who
Yeah.
you like anyway. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, like, the point that I always have with certain people is that like, yeah, I may piss off a few amount of friends, a few amount of people who I meet, but then eventually I will meet people who do fit with what I'm looking for. So even if I move to a new country, the first 10
That's
people
true.
I meet, I may not like. The first 20 people I meet, I may not like. But then eventually there'll be one guy who's like, oh, this, I'm like, hey, yo, yeah, me too, man.
Yeah,
Now I have a friend.
exactly.
And then you start to forget. It's incredible. I think it's amazing how humans are like, we're so incapable with our like we're so bad with our perception of time. Because when we look ahead for like
Thanks,
if
Ed.
we look ahead 1 year, thanks a lot, Adam. If you
Yeah,
look
thanks,
ahead
Ed.
1 year from now, you would think to yourself, oh, like that's forever from now. But if I tell you go back 1 year, you think to yourself, oh, that was like yesterday. I mean, it's amazing how much our perception of time just gets completely warped. And it's like, just be patient. Sometimes it's not there, but you know, it'll come to you. Over time, it'll work its way out. You just gotta be patient, be comfortable in your skin, and know what you're looking for. Don't give in just because you think you should give in, or because you think, well, everyone else is saying I should do this, so I'll follow
Yeah.
along. No, go through. I mean, if you really believe it's going to work for you, then just do it, man. I mean, Thomas Edison, what did he do, like 5,000 materials before he came up with the light bulb? Imagine if he quit after like the first 1,000 or something when people just told him, yo, it's not working. And he's like, yeah, I guess it didn't work. You know, he kept on himself like, no, I believe I can do this. I'm just doing something wrong. And then next thing you know, boom, he's done it.
You're
And then
right.
we have,
And like you always say to me, and it's just so true, it's so simple, but just stay true to yourself. You know, just
uh,
it's so simple and obvious, but you got to just keep reminding yourself. I mean,
yeah,
and it's
because
nice when you
everyone
have friends
thinks,
say for you. Yeah.
yeah, because everyone thinks you're going to get an easy answer out of other people, right? And you're not meant to get easy answer. Like you can't get an easy answer from someone. What you do is you get, you can, you can listen to other ideas, you can get different opinions, but then you have to put in the work yourself, and you have to think to yourself, is this what I want? Do I want this for myself? Because in 5 years, in 6 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, I have to live with that decision. So just make sure what you do now is something that fits your decision for now. Because when you get to a point later on, at least you can look back and think to yourself, hey, Ali Osman was right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was actually thinking of Tesla when I was talking about Edison. That you are right. You are right. That was my mistake. He was right. I was thinking of Tesla and I was like, I hope I get to slip that by somebody. But but I can depend on him to catch me on that one. But anyway, what was I saying? I
Yeah,
lost my
about
train.
being true, no, being true to yourself, and
Yeah.
yeah, what were we
Yeah,
saying?
because I mean, because at least if you're true to yourself, at least if you have if you know what your opinion is and you're solid about what your opinion is, it doesn't matter what your decision is. I think that's the most crucial thing to remember. It doesn't matter what you choose to do. It doesn't matter what you end up doing because you'll never hate yourself because you'll think this is what I wanted to do. Maybe it was the
Yes,
wrong
yes,
decision. Maybe it
yeah, yes, yes,
failed,
yes,
but it's what I
yeah.
wanted. So I'm
It was my
happy.
decision. Yeah, my
Exactly.
decision. Yeah,
And
yeah,
all and
yeah.
all and all you should learn is if it failed for you, then what you should say is, okay, then how do I change this in the future? Like if this decision went wrong, why did it go wrong? Was it because I was too eager? Was it because I didn't have the right motivation, the right information? Was I using my emotions better? Was
Right.
I not listening to my heart? Was I not listening to logic? Did I trust the wrong people? Whatever you can find, but then all that means is that you take that and then use that to make sure that in the future when you make a decision that's yours, you remember that factor because you think, oh yeah, but last time it failed because I trusted the wrong people. So this time I'll still go with my decision, but I just need to make sure that I'm trusting the right people this time. And I'll make sure
In
that
co
it's because of this.
No, you're right. And in coaching, we say that failure, when you fail, it's like time to celebrate because that means it doesn't mean you're a failure, but obviously failing means that you've tried something as well. You've tried something new,
Absolutely.
you've tried something different, and you're going to learn something as well. You know, it's when you're not failing that you need to worry because that means you're not trying anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because then you're just like,
You know.
you've just done what everyone else did. You're just doing the same, 9 to 5 jobs, wearing the same clothes, doing the same thing as everyone else
Oh
decides to
no,
do
yeah.
instead of instead of just
Years
thinking to
go
yourself, wait,
by.
but I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, years go
You had to get it is goodbye to yourself, it's goodbye to your soul, it's goodbye to your personality, to your mindset. And then you think to yourself, why do I feel, you know, down or depressed or like I'm not doing well? Because you didn't trust yourself. You didn't give yourself a chance. The thing is,
Yes, exactly, exactly.
the thing that drives me the craziest about a lot of this is that we throughout our lifetime as kids growing up through school, we are told that we are special, we are told that we are unique, that we can be something, we can be president of the United States in my case, or like you can become a billionaire, you can become a, you know what I mean, whatever, everyone tells you this, but then the minute we
The
finish
dream.
university, everything is you got to get a job, you got to get a house, you got to get a kid, you got to get a wife. I mean, everyone starts coming up with all these decisions and rules for you, and I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa! You told me I was unique. You told me that I was special. You told me that I was someone like I put 15 years, 20 years, whatever, into my brain to become who I am, to become my own form of intelligence.
Wow.
And then
Yes,
you're going to tell
yes.
me what my decision should be? That doesn't make sense. But what if I think I could do a better job? What if I think I could do
You're,
something? What if I want to become a writer? What if I want to travel? Maybe it doesn't work for me. But I mean, who said that your way was the way that worked anyway? How many times does someone do the right way of life? Let's say, for example, the socially accepted way of life, and then they ended up, stuck in, a loser job, and then end up having a midlife crisis in their 40s, you know, because you
exactly.
didn't give the midlife crisis is just you thinking for yourself in your 40s. You should have just done that in your 20s. You know what I mean? When you had the chance to believe in yourself. But now you're 40, you're like, oh, I didn't do anything that I wanted to do. Yeah, because you didn't
Uh,
trust yourself. You should
didn't
have
have
done
the
it.
courage. Exactly. Didn't have the courage. Sometimes it takes
Yeah,
a while to
absolutely.
get the courage.
You got to trust it.
You got to trust it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, you're absolutely right. No, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Hmm.
Have we got any questions from anybody?
Yeah, if anyone's got any questions, more than happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Come on.
Are you a leader? Are you a follower?
I'm this quarantine beard and hair is just going a
Yeah,
little
you've
bit.
got a beard now, haven't you? Yeah, that's what I was going to
Yeah, I mean,
say.
I figured there's no time like I mean, I can't grow a beard like a real person, but at least I was like, I do have a shave. I was like, there's no need for it. You know what I mean? Might as well see what it looks like, and then
Yeah,
it'll
exactly.
look
Are
it'll
you
just.
growing it, and growing it, or
I'm just gonna keep growing it until
are you
this whole thing is
really?
over. What's the
Really?
difference? Well, I mean, I never have to come on. It's not like I have to go on TV. I mean, this interview notwithstanding. I mean,
Oh, we've got a question here. How's your quarantine? How's your
being.
quarantine being?
Good to see you too, Osman. No, she's just asking.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the quarantine's been pretty good, very very good in terms of business opportunities, in terms of time. No, because I think no.
No,
Listen,
it's
like
good.
you
Good. I
tell
like it. Yeah, yeah, it's good.
you're telling me I got 18 hours to work on myself, like man, and I just gave a
Wow.
whole sermon for the last like 20 minutes about how you should believe in yourself. Like you know what I mean? Like of course, I've been throwing myself into it. I've dedicated like 6 7 hours of my day purely to doing like office hours from 9 to 3, which I wake up and I do different kinds of I have like different schedules, different calls. Even if I don't, I open up new ideas, whether I want to look into stock markets, try to learn a new skill. There's always like different things. I don't know. What have you been doing?
Well, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. No, I think it's amazing because, so many people, okay, there's probably people going through like really tough times as well, but people
Absolutely.
who are still working and healthy and everything, and they're saying, a lot of people are saying they're bored, and I'm like, how on earth could you be bored? Like, so many things to do. If you're, as long as you're healthy and
Yeah,
you've got a roof
absolutely.
over your head,
And
I
and I,
mean,
I think it's just
there's nothing,
about,
you know.
and it's perspective too. You got to push yourself. I mean, what was it yesterday, day before yesterday? I had a challenge where I tried to moonwalk the whole day because I was bored. I was like, I need to do something new. So I was literally just trying to go backwards everywhere. I was trying to cook. It was a
Really?
disaster. It was an absolute. Oh yeah, it was. Well, because I was bored. I was like, I need to do something different today. So I started like trying to moonwalk everywhere, but I kept like crashing into things. Believe me, cooking backwards was not. I was committed though. That's the one thing I was
Cooking
proud of. I was. Oh, I
backwards.
committed the full like 18 hours to it. I did not stop. I was
No
like, no, I
way.
will keep
No
walking
way.
backwards. Oh
Did
no,
you
it was absolute.
film it?
I mean, what? Film myself going backwards? No, I didn't need to
I
do
don't
that to
know.
myself.
Yeah.
No, I don't need to do that to myself. I already have the memories. I was already laughing about that. It's good
No, but
times.
that's
You
great
got it.
because you can basically you can entertain yourself. You don't need to be entertained, and that's what this is
Well, I
all
mean,
about the quarantine as well, isn't it? It's like, can you be with yourself and entertain yourself and have fun? And so that's
yeah.
amazing.
Plus, I'm
You do.
awesome, so I already know I could entertain myself. I love myself, so I was like, oh, yeah. You tell me I get to spend all this time with my favorite human being in the world? I can do that in my sleep. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, but that's great. I think it does come down to that, though, doesn't it? Because, like we said,
No,
if you're happy with yourself and you love yourself, then you're gonna have a great time being home alone.
yeah, absolutely. And then it's a perspective thing. I mean, a lot of times when people are telling me, "Yo, I'm bored. I'm not doing anything in this time," I'm
Oh
looking back at
God.
them and saying, like it's just, I mean, imagine if you didn't have a job and you and or you broke your legs and you couldn't leave the house. I mean, would you just sit around crying for 3 months? No, you wouldn't. You would find something else to do with your day. You know what I mean? Listen to
Exactly.
music, play something, play a game, learn a new
Do what you
skill, apply
can
for,
do. Exactly.
yeah,
That's the whole point. Do
whatever.
what you can do. Yeah. If
Yeah,
you're
exactly. Find
healthy,
something.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there anyone else with any questions? I don't know if I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
anything
Has
else to
anyone else
say.
got any questions? Because we're going to finish soon.
Yeah,
But it's so nice to have you on, Mac. And it's been so
of course,
interesting.
Juliana, I miss school. I very, very much miss it.
Any questions about leading or following? Sheep.
There's no sheep. That's why everyone's thinking for themselves. They don't need to ask questions. That's what I support.
Yeah, that's
They're already
true.
ahead of
That's true.
themselves.
No, but it's great. No, but thank you so much. And
No,
I
it was
think
really
that's
cool. I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun. Being able
yeah,
to
no,
talk
no.
to everyone, kind of
It's so nice to
share the
hear your
opinion.
perspective on things. It's so interesting because I think you are a leader. The people are still
Oh,
joining
thank
now.
you very
You
much.
are a leader. You're very individual,
Area.
and oh yeah, and it takes courage. Oh, do you think it's better for a leader or a follower? Oh, that's a good question. Do you think it's better for a leader or a follower in lockdown? Mac, what do you think?
Oh, I think it's definitely better for a leader. Okay. I mean, this is 100% because
Do you
some
really?
of the, yeah, because I think I think in some context no, because if you're a leader and you want to take initiative, I understand that you want to get out and about. But I do think it is the best time for it because just like I mentioned earlier, this is literally free time to invest into yourself. This is like
Yeah,
you're given an opportunity
yes.
to become better at whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's learning a new skill, whether it's trying to set yourself up to be in a new to join a new sector once things open up and the job market becomes different, whatever it is, and
Yeah.
life becomes kind of back to normal, or to gain new skills, whether it's learning languages and stuff. My brother, for example, decided, and he's never done anything in computers in his life, but he decided to learn coding. So he spent all his time becoming, learning coding. Whereas I think other things like followers, they just,
Wow.
end up watching these mindless things on Netflix. I mean, have you seen some of these shows that are ranked like number one, number two, number three? I just saw one show that was ranked number one on Netflix for the last 2 3 days or something like that. And it's I'm not even going to talk about what the show is. It was that stupid. But it was some
Oh
reality
no.
TV show that was so incredibly dumb. And I was like, this is the number one watch show in UAE. I'm like, that's the problem. That's exactly why
Oh
would
no.
any how does anyone think that show was any value? It's like a reality TV show with all these reality stars hanging out on an island together. I'm like, why is this a number one show? Why is anyone wasting their time on this? At least if you're watching it on Netflix, open up a documentary. How hard could that be? You know what I mean? How hard could it be to just enjoy
Wow,
something,
exactly.
to do something else with your
Exactly.
time? Like, how is that show number one? You know what I mean? Whereas
Do
there's
you think
plenty of
watching
shows where,
anything, do you think watching anything makes you a follower, or do you just mean when you
no,
continuously
but
watch? Mm.
no, but I think it's more about like kind of there's see because I believe me, I consume shows. Like I love to watch shows, and I'm not
Yeah.
just saying like just great ones. Like I'll still watch stupid things like Game of Thrones. Not that Game of Thrones is stupid, but I just mean like kind of
Yeah.
fantasy or just kind of pointless shows. But on top of that, there's still documentaries and stuff that I watch and different kind and like cool, because you get to read different stories and different, you watch something and you think, oh my God, I didn't know like this guy did this or this person did that or I didn't hear a story about how this person became that. So you get to learn different stories,
Informative
different
things. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you get to learn information. And anyway, you can still watch the mindless stuff, but all I mean to do with that is that do it in a way that rewards it. Like you worked all day, so you put on something stupid. You know what I mean? I just wanted to watch something that was funny, but you earned it because you worked for 6 7 hours, because you tried for 6 7 hours to learn something. Now you go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you give yourself a break. Now you've earned it. You've had a bit of fun. You think to yourself, okay, I'm gonna enjoy my day. I mean, I don't even allow myself to open Netflix or any TV show. It's only allowed to have music until 4 p.m. because the rest of the time is just committed to trying to find work on my computer. I got
Amazing.
no
Yeah.
computer games. So, I mean, if I'm going to spend 7 hours on my computer, I can either just stare at the screen or I'm going to end up coming up with something to do where I'm like, oh, actually, let me read about this thing. Even if it's just reading information, you're gaining something.
Exactly. It's got to be at the end of the day when you've already had a productive day, then basically.
Yeah, like earn the fun. You know what I mean? Like okay, have fun, but earn it. You know what I mean? Just get it, earn it for yourself. I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's the
So
difference
I'm
between a
there
leader
100%.
and a follower. And Ali had a question as well, but I've missed it. I think he said something like,
What kind of leader do you want
"What
to be?
leader?" I
Or
think he
what?
said, "Yeah." And what should you be? But then if you're asking, "What should you be?" Is that a
Well, I
follower
think,
question? Mm.
well, no, because I think we're like, for example, at least my understanding from that question would be that, you have, if you look through like history and if you look through different
Hi,
companies, you
honey.
have different
Yeah.
when you have like different kind of leaders, you have people who are very kind of authoritarian, or people who are kind of like, this is my decisions and this is why I do it. I think if you're I think it's, if you're going to be a leader, the kind of leader you should be is, one, someone who understands that you're not number one, you're not the best, you know what I mean? You are the leader because you're, because of experience, seniority, because of, sometimes it's just you were there first, you know what I mean?
All
But
right. Okay.
if you were but if you're going to be like, I'm just saying, like, if you were talking about something like a company, but I think if you're going to
Oh.
be a leader, well, yeah, that's where I'm going to go with it. So like, yeah, because that's where I think is what. But a leader is someone that you're going to look up to because they take in everyone's opinions, they take in all the facts, they take in all information, and they're able to make the best kind of decision for that. That's what I believe a kind of leader that you should be, or that's what I believe defines a leader. Not someone who comes in and says, "This is what I believe, and this is what we're going to do." That doesn't help me. Just because you
Yeah, that's
believe
like
it
a
doesn't
boss.
help. But
It's like
why?
a boss. Yeah.
Exactly. Why do you believe this? Explain to me so I understand it. So then when I'm doing it, I think to myself, oh, okay, this is what's going to get us to where we need to be. Oh, I understand why it's going to get us there. Okay, I believe in your message and I'm going to go with you. And crucially, if you would have someone if you would have followers under you and they think, well, okay, I heard your plan, or I heard what you think, and I kind of think we could do this and that would improve it, or I would do this, then that would be something that benefits you as a leader, because I can't think of all the holes in my idea or my plan or my decision. I need someone else to be able to give me an outside perspective and think to yourself, oh, but what about this? Oh, you know what? I didn't think about this. Okay, you know what? Let's change this up a little bit and do. That's a leader. You're decisive, but you're listening. You're taking in people's
Mm.
information and you're allowing it to be collaborative, but you're still able to be kind of decisive and act on an action or act on a decision or create or get the decision that needs to, be what it needs to be to get there. Oh,
Yeah,
see,
no, very
seems like Ali's happy
well
with
said.
that.
Got a clap for that. Yeah, well said. Yeah, I think basically a leader is just somebody who thinks before they act, and they make their decision by themselves.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, I know
I
that's a
mean,
very basic term, and then a follower is just somebody who doesn't think and just follows. I mean, on a very basic.
on a basic level. Although I will say that,
Mm.
you would have different kinds of it, because I don't think it's, for example, wrong to be a follower in a certain kind of context. But if you're going to be a follower who just blindly goes along with whatever your leader
Yeah.
says, then yeah, that might be that might be the wrong kind of,
Mm.
what's the word I'm looking for? It would be for the wrong reasons that you're following along. But at least if you're a follower, that you're not someone who's scared to step up and think, okay, but why is this and why is that? And the person still, and the leader, so to speak, in that context, is willing to, explains it. And then you think to yourself, yeah, I agree with that. And you're able to, you're confident within yourself to understand that and think, yeah, I definitely am able to question it and make this decision for myself. And I agree with what this person says. Then that's like that's not wrong to be a follower in that way. You know what I mean? So
No,
it
no.
does have a
And
certain
it's not,
context
and it's
to
not
it.
wrong to be a follower. I mean, if people want to be followers, that's fine, isn't it? I mean, you can be a follower, you can be a leader, you can be whatever you choose. It's up to
Well, it just
you.
depends where you are. Like in certain contexts, I can be a leader because of, experience or knowledge that I may have. But in other ones, someone else may have,
Right.
the experience. So I would be their follower, but I'm still like within myself able to question them and think, okay, do I do I agree with this person? And, let me ask the right questions, because at least if I'm asking the right questions, I know even if I'm following this person, I'm following the right person. Just because someone is known as the head of something, or he's the foremost expert on this field, it's like, okay, but no one said that has to be that. No one says that just because he's the foremost I have to follow him. I'm still going to question it, so that way you can convince me to agree with you, and you can convince me to think, okay, you're the right person to follow. So I think that's, it's the job of a follower to do that, whereas it's the job of the leader to become intentional, or to be, or to make that decision for them. I think that's where it gets there.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, I think we all have leaders in us and followers in us as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you said.
And I want to touch one point on a question earlier someone said about should a leader compete with his team? And I
Oh
think
yeah, I saw.
it's yeah, and I think it's really important to address that only because I think like if you really look back, I mean, you tell me if you've had this experience before. Have you ever had a time where someone was, let's say, the manager or the leader of something, and they were constantly like going against any decision anyone else was making? Did that leader ever inspire you to
Oh
stay with
no,
them?
fear. Yeah, and you can just see that
Absolutely.
they're scared of you
They become
outshining them.
insecure.
Yeah,
Exactly. They become
yeah,
insecure. They become they're scared of you outshining, and then you start to lose faith in them as a
yeah,
leader,
yeah,
and
and then
then
you
and
become
then now
insecure. It
you
makes you
start to
insecure.
undermine them.
Yeah, yeah, and the
You
whole
undermine them,
yeah,
and then whatever your goal is, whatever the objective, whatever the point of this leader is, has been completely lost, and now you're not even able to achieve that. So it's extremely important that a leader makes everyone feels inclusive. I mean, I'm not going to follow someone
yeah,
who keeps telling me no, this is just the way we do it. Yeah, then why should I follow you? I quit. I'm done with you, whatever this plan is or whatever this group is or whatever is this team. I'm not with you because you're just telling me I have to follow. No, why do I have to follow? And I thought I had a genuinely good idea. Okay, I'm not saying you have to accept my idea. I accept that you're the leader or you're whatever it is. That's
yeah.
fine. But like explain to me why my decision is the wrong one or why you felt like you shouldn't go along with it. Because at least if
It
you
helps you
if you give
learn
me
as
something,
well. Mm.
yeah, it helps me learn. Because when I say, oh, this is an idea, and you tell me, no, that's not a good idea because this, I'm like, okay, I get where my fault was in thinking. In the future, when I have another idea, I'll learn from my lessons and I'll make sure that it's something that's going to fit more along the line. But I don't want to be afraid to speak up. So if a leader is competing with his team, you become afraid to speak up, and anytime you're afraid to speak up, you just end up having a failure because this leader is the authoritarian and no one else is allowed to question him. So there's no point. I mean, then we're just going to always follow along in what he says.
Is that?
You know,
Oh
and
God, yeah, exactly, exactly. And
I mean
nobody
that's what
grows.
happened. I mean that's what happened with. I mean that's a World War II story, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, so
Yeah, well,
anyway,
tell
any
us
other
if you.
questions? Huh?
Yeah,
No,
any
I
other?
was no because if I end up talking about history, we're gonna end up being here for a very long time. So I'm too much of a history, but I think it is important. Like in like I will say this for that as a side note in terms of like
Yeah,
learning, like looking back on history for businesses and especially like in human history in terms of things that happened over the course of certain empires and leaderships and so on. You understand a lot of failures and a lot of and you get to see a lot of repetition over time because you start to look back
yeah,
and think, oh yeah, these people fell because this. He's like, oh yeah, because of bad leadership, because of people constantly following along, no one wanting to step up in certain contexts, okay, or somebody exceeding their grasps, or not realizing their limitations, or not taking in what they're, or not appreciating what they had, and so on and so. Like you see that over time and over time in history. So I mean, just go looking back on a lot of different things, you can see like the falls of empires and certain civilizations were
mm.
based on things like this, where people didn't see this coming, so boom, we suddenly everything fell apart because no one was able to step up or no one thought
Oh
this
wow,
actually
we've
didn't make
got
a lot of sense.
yeah, we've got 2 minutes remaining. I didn't even know there was a time limit.
Is there a
What
time
was I
limit on
going to
these
say?
things?
Yeah, I didn't even know that. What was I going to say? Do you think we always need a leader, or can we just be our own leader?
No, we could
What?
be our own leader. Why would we have a leader? I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, there's a consensus kind of something like as a centerfold to follow, but I think everyone got to be part, it has to be, part of it. Because when we're all leading together and then we start to lead as a unit, then we can really go somewhere. Because I'm not
yeah,
afraid, you're not afraid. Doesn't matter if someone's, theoretically at the top, that person's just the one who makes the final decision because it's been agreed upon by whatever we've set. But if everyone leads, then we're all able to get somewhere. Like get out
yeah.
of your
Do you
mindset.
think that ever
Be
really
unafraid to be
works?
who. What?
Everyone leading together. Do you think that actually ever works?
Yeah, I think so because I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, because think about it like I mean, for me, think about the kind
One
of
minute.
in the
Oh my God. Yeah.
is it really timed? I didn't even know
Yeah,
these
one
things get
minute. Oh
timed.
my God,
I will
go,
just say
go.
this, and then when it gets cut out. But one love to everybody. But what I will say is that like think about like the kind of friendships that you have where everyone is a leader. It doesn't mean everyone's conflicting. It just means when something is going down, certain people decide to go along with it, whereas some people will say,
Okay.
okay, I'm not really going to come along. So everyone's still leading, but everyone's just kind of accepting and following with each other. He Ali
Yeah.
disagrees with me. He said
Okay.
we also
Yeah.
need some followers
Right.
too.
Okay, we got 28 seconds. I cannot believe the time is up. I didn't even know there was a time limit. It must be
I
an
didn't even know
hour
these
or
things get timed.
something.
Must
But
be, yeah.
no, but it's been absolutely amazing, Mac, and everybody. And we'll do this again, yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been really awesome. It was great seeing everyone. It was great seeing
Yeah,
you.
it's
Great
great
being
seeing
able to talk to
everyone.
you.
So we've got as a
Yeah.
countdown, nine,
Thanks a
eight,
lot for the
seven.
input.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, it's brilliant. Yeah, thanks, Ali. Great to see you as well. Oh my God, time out. Okay, bye.